The tremor rolled through Earth like a low, deliberate breath, deep enough to rattle continents yet too controlled to resemble any natural quake. Commander Alden Trace braced himself against the tactical table as the seismic display erupted in spiking waves. For a heartbeat the room went silent, the hum of the command center swallowed by the data streaming across every screen. "This isn't tectonic," the technician whispered. "It's patterned." Alden leaned closer. The waveforms sharpened into geometric pulses, stacked spirals, looping helixes, rhythmic segments no geological event could produce. "Run a linguistic overlay," he said. The system complied. The symbols aligned into something disturbingly intentional. "Commander," the text swallowed hard. "This reads like a language." Before Alden could reply, the outer alarm erupted with a rising, metallic wail. Defense officers snapped to attention as the holographic star map flared red. Dozens of signatures pierced the Sol system's edge, sharp, predatory signals belonging to only one species. "The Voke are here," Alden murmured. The technician's hands trembled on the console. "First wave, 93 warships. They bypassed the blockade." Alden straightened, dropping the seismic tablet onto the table. 2 crises had arrived in the same minute, one buried beneath Earth, the other descending from the stars. Neither coincidence nor luck favored humanity this much. "Patch me to High Command," he ordered. A moment later, Admiral Raina Holt appeared in a crisp projection. Her expression was carved from steel. "Trace, you seeing what we're seeing?" "Yes, ma'am." "Dominion spearheads. Full combat formation." "And the other issue?" she asked, carefully avoiding panic. Alden tapped the seismic display. "Still analyzing. But it's structured. Intelligent." The Admiral exhaled slowly. "You're authorized to investigate. Take whoever you need. If there's anything, under Earth that can help us, we're out of time to ignore it." The connection flickered out. Alden turned to the science wing of the command deck. Dr. Lyra Sate stood waiting, arms folded, eyes glowing with a mixture of curiosity and dread. A xenotechnology specialist, she had been tracking the anomalies for months, against the Council's insistence that they were nothing. "You knew this was coming," Alden said. "I hoped I was wrong." She nodded toward the seismic map. "That pattern is precursor-level architecture. And not dormant. It's awakening." "Awakening what?" "That's what we need to find out." Alden hesitated. Each second felt like sand slipping from a sealed clock. Outside Earth's atmosphere, a fleet capable of erasing continents was inbound. Whatever stirred below might be the only thing that could even the odds, or destroy them from beneath. He met Lyra's gaze. "Gear up. We're going down." The descent shaft lay hidden beneath an abandoned geothermal facility in northern Canada, a relic of early colonization efforts. Snow drifted across the cracked concrete as Alden and Lyra stepped through the security door. Their boots echoed along the metallic corridor until they reached an elevator unlike any human design. Its surface was smooth, metallic but warm, etched with faintly luminous lines that pulsed at their approach. "It activated on its own last week," Lyra said. "We sealed the site, but it's been humming since." Alden placed his hand on the panel. It brightened under his touch. The door slid open. A cavernous platform awaited them, no cables, no visible mechanisms. Just a soft humming vibration underfoot. When the doors closed, the world lurched downward so smoothly he felt only a weightless tug. "How far does this go?" Alden asked. "The scans estimated at least 30 kilometers," Lyra answered. Then they broke. Alden stared through the transparent panel in the floor. Darkness stretched beneath them like the throat of a planet. The deeper they went, the stronger the hum became, vibrating faintly through bone. Halfway down, the comms crackled. "Commander Trace, urgent update," a breathless officer reported. "Voke forces destroyed the Lysander outpost. 0 survivors. Mars Defense Fleet is engaging, but they're outmatched." Alden closed his eyes for a moment. Lysander had held 90,000 civilians. Humanity was running out of time. "Understood." he replied. Hold as long as you can. The elevator finally slowed. The darkness parted, revealing a titanic chamber, so vast it could house cities. The walls curved like the inside of a colossal sphere, glowing with a soft, blue luminescence that pulsed in rhythm with the tremors. Alden stepped forward with measured awe. This isn't a facility. No, Lyra said. It's a cradle. The floor vibrated with a deep, resonant thrum. As they moved further, the chamber brightened, or rather, something at its center caught the light. A figure. A shape so massive it took Alden several seconds to understand it. A humanoid silhouette embedded into the bedrock itself, forged of stone, metal, and something that looked alive. Its shoulders rose like mountain ridges. Its chest bore patterns resembling runes, each one pulsing softly to the seismic rhythm. Its closed eyes glowed faintly beneath sedimented layers of ancient dust. Lyra's voice trembled. This is the Sentinel of Soul. Alden stared. The myth? The legends from pre-expansion texts? Not myth. Not legend. She pointed to the runes. These are precursor constructs. And this one is fused directly into Earth's mantle. A sudden spike in the tremor surged across the chamber. Panels around the giant flickered with renewed intensity, as though the structure recognized their presence. A stream of holographic symbols spiraled upward, casting pale light on their faces. Alden stepped closer. The Sentinel's chest pulse accelerated, beating like a colossal heart. Why is it reacting to me? He asked. Lyra scanned rapidly. I don't know. But look, these energy channels align with human neurological frequencies. It's selecting something. The ground trembled again, short, sharp, deliberate. Another symbol flashed brighter than the rest. Lyra inhaled sharply. It's asking for an anchor. Alden frowned. Meaning? A human interface. A mind compatible with its control systems. Alden felt a pressure in the air, like gravity rearranging itself around him. The pulsing lights shifted toward his position. The resonance deepened, and for an instant he felt something brush against his consciousness. Not a voice. More like an instinct, ancient and heavy, acknowledging him. He staggered. Lyra, something touched me. She studied him with widening eyes. Then it's chosen you. The Sentinel's eyes glowed brighter, two enormous slits of light burning beneath stone lids. Dust cascaded off its face. A low, thunderous rumble echoed through the chamber as its fingers twitched within the rock. Alden stepped back, heart pounding. Commander. Lyra's voice was barely audible. It's waking up. The chamber lights flared in synchronized patterns across the walls. A surge of energy rolled upward through the conduits, shaking dust from the ceiling. The Sentinel's runes ignited, casting the cavern in blinding radiance. Above ground, the calm units shrieked. Commander Trace! Mars' defense fleet is collapsing. Voke are minutes from bypassing them. Alden stared up at the giant construct, twin beams of light radiating from its awakening eyes. Two threats, closing from above and below. He tightened his grip on the calm. Hold the line, he said. Then, to the colossal figure stirring beneath the planet. Wake up. Humanity needs you. The Sentinel answered with a roar that shook the world. The roar rolled through the cavern like a shockwave, shuddering through metal, stone, and bone. Dust spiraled from the vaulted ceiling as ancient conduits lit up in rippling bursts. Alden braced himself against a support beam while Lyra shielded her eyes from the blinding radiance flickering off the Sentinel's runes. The massive construct wasn't fully moving, its limbs remained embedded in the surrounding rock, but its presence was unmistakably alive now. The air felt charged, vibrating with a low hum that resonated inside Alden's chest. Keep breathing, Lyra said, lowering her arm. It's not hostile. It doesn't feel hostile, Alden replied. But it definitely feels aware. The Sentinel's enormous gaze rested on him, two columns of bluish light narrowing as if trying to focus. Alden felt the return of that strange inner pull, a gravitational tug not on his body, but on his mind. A holographic glyph spiraled upward from the central platform. The symbols shifted until they formed a stable pattern, hanging between Alden and the awakening construct. They pulsed in sync with his heartbeat. "What does that mean?" Alden asked. Lyra scanned the glyphs with rapid motions. "It's designation code, something like a query. It's comparing your neural signature to stored parameters." "Stored for what?" "To determine if you're compatible," she said quietly. Alden studied the glowing sequence. "Compatible for what exactly?" Lyra swallowed. "Anchoring." The sentinel responded immediately. New symbols formed, layered and complex. Lyra's tablet translated fragments in real time. Anchor required. Human pilot. Emotional resonance interface. She looked up at him. "It needs someone at its core. Someone who can stabilize its systems and guide its actions." Alden stared at the construct. "This thing was built to work with us. Not with humanity as it is now," Lyra corrected. "With whatever lineage the precursors expected would rise here." The cavern shook again, but not from the sentinel. Alden's comm pinged sharply. He answered as the line filled with static. "Commander Trace, urgent update." The voice belonged to Captain Halden from Orbital Command. "Voke reinforcements just broke through Mars. They're advancing toward Earth at full acceleration. Estimated arrival, 40 minutes. Alden clenched his jaw. "What's left of the fleet?" "Burning, sir. They can delay but not stop them." The call ended abruptly. Lyra's expression tightened. "Earth doesn't have 40 minutes. Alden faced the sentinel. Its gaze remained fixed on him, as if studying every thought. "If this thing can fight." "It can," Lyra cut in. "But only if you complete the anchoring process. Without a human interface, it stays halfway awake. And halfway awake isn't enough." Alden exhaled slowly. "Then show me how." She motioned toward a narrow path leading deeper into the chamber. "The heart chamber is below." As they descended the curved walkway, the cavern expanded into a structure carved with ancient precision. The walls shifted from stone to metal seamlessly, glowing faintly with streams of circulating energy. Embedded conduits pulsed like arteries carrying power toward the colossal construct above. They reached a semicircular archway marked with symbols identical to those flashing across the sentinel's chest. Lyra brushed her fingers across the surface. The doorway dissolved into thin air, revealing a narrow passage filled with soft blue mist. Alden stepped through first. The temperature dropped instantly. He felt the air shift, almost like entering a pressure-controlled environment. The passage ended in a circular chamber lined with hexagonal panels. At its center stood a suspended crystalline sphere about a meter across, held aloft by invisible force. "Is this the core?" Alden asked. "The neural interface," Lyra replied. "Touch it." Alden approached the sphere. It emitted a low, harmonic vibration. When he placed his palm on its surface, cold shot up his arm like liquid metal. The sphere brightened around his hand, scanning him with invisible threads of energy. A high-frequency tone filled the chamber. Alden winced. "What's it doing?" "Mapping your neural pathways," Lyra said. "It's determining how deeply it can link to you." The sphere projected a ring of symbols that rotated like gears. Then, the room lights dimmed. The tones softened into a rhythmic pulse that matched Alden's heartbeat. The surface of the sphere warmed beneath his touch. Alden's vision blurred. His surroundings dissolved, replaced by a vast, luminescent void. Blue and silver strands crisscrossed like an endless web stretching beyond sight. A voice, not spoken but sensed, echoed through the space. "Anchor candidate, compatible. Human will strong. Interface available." Alden's breath caught. "Who are you?" "Guardian. Sentinel. Shield of soul. Awaiting anchor." The sphere brightened, and a pulse surged through his mind. Memories not his own flickered. Towering machines, luminous beings shaping stars, battles fought on cosmic scales, worlds guarded by constructs like the ones sleeping beneath Earth. The vision tightened around him. "Do you consent to anchor?" Alden steadied himself. "If I don't, Earth falls." Affirmation required. He exhaled. "Yes. I consent." Reality snapped back. Alden staggered as the sphere shot a beam of light into the top of the chamber. Conduits across the walls flared alive, sending currents toward the cavern above. The sound of shifting metal echoed through the chamber, massive, groaning, awakening. Lyra rushed forward. "Did it accept you?" Alden nodded. "It's linking now." The floor vibrated beneath them. Energy surged upward. The passage they had walked through lit with flowing currents. The entire chamber pulsed in unison with the sentinel's roar. A second pulse followed, deeper, more resonant. Lyra steadied herself. "This is working." Alden felt the pressure building behind his eyes, then a rush of clarity. He sensed the sentinel above them as if it were an extension of his own body, a distant, colossal limb awakening from hibernation. "Lyra," he said. "I can feel it forming connections." "Describe it." "It's reading my intentions. It wants direction." Before Lyra could respond, the comm pinged again, this time filled with distant screams and blaster fire. "Commander Trace, Vogue destroyer group entering Earth's lunar orbit. Civilian evacuation is failing. Their cannons are already charging." Alden's pulse quickened, but his voice remained steady. "Understood." He glanced upward, sensing the sentinel's rising strength. The construct's awareness brushed against his mind again, no longer distant but close, almost intimate. It waited. It listened. Alden stepped back to the sphere. "Sentinel, can you hear me?" "Yes." He swallowed. "Earth is under attack. Can you defend it?" The response was instant. "Anchor directs. Guardian obeys." Lyra's eyes widened. "It's ready." The chamber trembled with a final surge. Far above, titanic stone cracked and fell away as the sentinel's limbs tore free from the surrounding rock. Its colossal form shifted, joints locking into place with thunderous resonance. Alden felt the connection deepen until the construct's heartbeat merged with his own. He sensed the outside world through its sensors, fleets gathering, weapons charging, Earth trembling under the shadow of the Dominion. Lyra touched his arm. "What now?" Alden looked upward. "Now we bring it to the surface." The sentinel's roar shook the planet as it began to rise. The ascent began with a low vibration that rippled through the chamber floor. Stone fractured along ancient seams as the sentinel's limbs tore free from the mantle. Alden stood at the center of the neural interface platform, eyes partly unfocused, half anchored to his own body and half linked to the massive construct rising through Earth's crust. Lyra steadied herself against the wall as the cavern shook. "Alden, how stable is the connection?" "Stable enough," he said, though a faint tremor ran through his fingers. "It's learning how I think. The more it learns, the smoother this gets." Above them, the sentinel's colossal form moved with deliberate strength, pushing effortlessly through layers of rock. The chamber filled with dust and thunder as tons of debris cascaded behind the construct's ascent path. Alden's vision blurred, then sharpened with sudden clarity not his own. He felt the pressure of tectonic layers passing around him, sensed heat pockets, mineral flows, and structural weaknesses. It wasn't sight. It was awareness, vast and precise. Lyra watched him carefully. "You're merging with it faster than I expected." "It's guiding the pace," Alden replied, voice tight but controlled. "It wants to be fully awake before we reach the surface." The next tremor hit harder. The tunnel shook as the sentinel burst into a long-abandoned subterranean facility, one that had never appeared on any human map. When Alden blinked, the construct blinked with him. When he turned his attention to the facility, its sensors zeroed in. The cavern opened into a vast mechanical chamber filled with dormant machines, sleek towers, suspended conduits, platforms that once connected to the sentinel itself. All dark now. All silent. Lyra exhaled in awe. This entire base, this was built for it. Or by it, Alden said. He didn't know how he knew that, but the sentinel's memories stirred at the back of his mind, faint impressions of glowing halls and ancient hands shaping metal. The construct paused only long enough to orient itself. Then, with a slow, powerful motion, it pushed through the chamber ceiling and continued upward. Alden's calm crackled to life again. The signal was shaky, as if bouncing through unstable layers of ground. "This is command, Trace, what's happening down there?" "We're registering massive seismic displacement across northern Canada." "Controlled," Alden answered. "We're coming up." He could hear shouting behind the calm officer. Urgency radiated through the static. "Commander, the Voke main fleet is entering low lunar orbit. Their destroyers are aligning weapons. If they fire, Earth won't survive the first volley." Alden felt the Sentinel react to the fear carried in the officer's voice. The construct's internal energy surged, humming through his bones. "We'll intercept them," Alden said. "Hold until we break the surface." He ended the transmission and focused on the ascent. The Sentinel tore through the last stretch of bedrock. Sunlight burst into the tunnel in a blazing column, blinding after the cavern's dimness. Cold wind rushed in, carrying the sharp scent of snow and sky. Then the giant emerged. The ground trembled as the Sentinel's massive frame stepped onto open terrain for the first time in an age. Snowfields cracked beneath its weight. Evergreen forests swayed violently from the shock. Its body, towering hundreds of meters high, glowed with pulsing blue light along its runic veins. Alden stood deep underground, but through the neural interface he saw what the Sentinel saw: wide horizon, drifting winter clouds, and far above, tiny glints of metal streaking across the sky. Voke destroyers. Lyra shielded her eyes as the terrain shook again. "Alden, it's actually standing." He exhaled slowly, experiencing the weight of the construct's presence from inside. "It's stronger than I thought." "And angrier." She looked up. "It can feel anger?" "No," he said. "But it reacts to threat." "Emotion isn't the right word, it's more like instinct tied to purpose." A distant explosion echoed across the atmosphere. One of the Voke destroyers fired a preliminary shot toward a satellite cluster. The blast lit the sky with a white flare. Alden's pulse quickened. The Sentinel's sensors locked onto the destroyer. Symbols streamed across the neural interface platform as the giant calculated distance, trajectory, and power output. Lyra stepped closer. "What's it planning?" Alden didn't answer. The Sentinel moved on its own, not in defiance, but in anticipation of his intent. He raised his hand. The construct raised its arm. Energy gathered in a spiraling vortex along its forearm, silver, blue, and white currents merging into a luminous mass. Lyra's breath caught. "Alden, that output!" "I know." For a heartbeat the world held still. Then the Sentinel fired. A beam of concentrated energy launched from its arm with blinding speed. The shot ripped through the clouds and struck the Voke destroyer directly. The ship split in half, shredded by the sheer force of the blast. Flames erupted across its hull as debris scattered through lunar orbit. Alden felt the recoil ripple through the Sentinel's frame. It was not pain, just the awareness of power released. But one kill did nothing to slow the fleet. More signatures filled the Sentinel's sensors, dozens, then hundreds. Voke warships reorganized, spreading into coordinated assault formations. Red targeting beams descended toward Earth, painting the atmosphere like bloody constellations. Lyra grabbed the edge of a console as another tremor rattled the chamber. "They're going to fire on the planet!" Alden's mind surged with the Sentinel's battle instincts. He felt its dormant protocols unlocking: shields, propulsion systems, weapon arrays far more advanced than anything humanity had built. "I'm taking it up," he said. "Up?" Lyra repeated, startled. "You mean into orbit? We can't defend Earth from here." She hesitated, searching his expression. "Can the Sentinel survive orbital combat?" His voice came out steady. "It was built for it." The ground beneath the construct cracked as energy surged into its legs. The runes across its body brightened until the snow around its feet evaporated into steam. The Sentinel crouched, gathering power. Lyra touched her calm. "I'll transmit a warning to command." "Do it fast." She hurried to the nearest console as Alden surrendered more of his awareness to the construct. The interface pulsed around him, the chamber vibrating with rising power. The Sentinel leapt. The ground exploded beneath it. Stone shattered. trees bent under the shockwave. The giant shot upward, propelled by a massive burst of energy that lifted it into the sky like a comet. Alden felt the pressure change as the construct pierced the clouds, climbing higher and faster until the blue atmosphere dimmed into blackness. Stars expanded across the Sentinel's view. Earth curved below, fragile and bright. Ahead, the Vogue fleet angled toward firing formation. Alden felt the giant's readiness coursing through him, an ancient determination awakening in his own chest. Through the neural link, the Sentinel's voice resonated. Anchor. Directive? Alden stared at the incoming warships, their crimson energy signatures brightening like igniting suns. Target the lead dreadnought, he said. The Sentinel's runes flared, and the battle for orbit began. When the Celestial Assembly opened its emergency session, every species filled their sector with restless whispers and the sharp click of translation modules struggling to keep up. The hall was a cathedral of woven starlight, but the atmosphere felt like a battlefield waiting for the first shot. They were here for one reason. The Guardian of Earth had fully awakened. Across the chamber, holographic reports flickered, shattered war stations, immobilized dreadnoughts, fleets still drifting powerless after the wave of Aegis's resurgence. Yet the most astonishing feed came from a source none of them expected, the Zeruan Sovereign's own flagship. The mighty vessel that no enemy had ever breached finally transmitted something undeniable. A young human, Alara Trent, blood-smeared, exhausted, and glaring straight into the camera, declaring a threat that struck like a solar flare. If you come for Earth again, you answer to me, and to him. That him didn't even need naming. Every delegate shuddered. The Guardian wasn't a relic anymore. He wasn't dormant. He wasn't weakened by centuries of sleep. He was back. And he was furious. Alara stood on a raised platform at the center of the human delegation, flanked by carved pillars of obsidian glass. She had no formal training for diplomacy, no title, no political grooming. But after everything she had survived, no one doubted she belonged here. Across from her, the Zeruan sovereign towered in his shimmering armor, the plates shifting like heated metal. He looked less like a ruler now and more like someone who had just learned a nightmare was real. His voice rumbled like machinery grinding through stone. You should not exist. Alara didn't blink. You said the same thing about humanity 2 days ago. Didn't work out great for you. Gasps rippled through the hall. The Sovereign's jaw shifted with quiet rage. Your guardian should not exist. A low hum rose from the protective bubble around Alara, the subtle resonance of Aegis's presence through the link in her wrist, an echo of the bond formed during his awakening. She felt him listening, and he felt her resolve tightening. Too late, she said. He does. From the outer corridor, a thunderous vibration rolled through the chamber. Delegates flinched. A few shields flickered. The hall's crystalline walls trembled under a pressure they had only ever simulated, never experienced. Then the doors opened. No fanfare. No announcement. Just a figure stepping out of the shadows of an ancient legend. Aegis. He walked with a precision that made even machine species recoil. His armor, forged before most empires existed, glowed with a faint gold pulse, each beat a reminder that he no longer drew from reserve power. He was fully restored. The sovereign soldiers tried to raise their weapons. The hall's authority drones overrode them instantly. No one dared fire. Aegis stopped beside Alara, his attention briefly scanning the assembly, reading them like open pages in a book he had already memorized. His voice, when it came, was neither loud nor aggressive. It simply carried impossible weight. You summoned me. I am listening. The sovereign spat. You should have remained in your tomb, machine. Aegis turned to him with a gaze that felt older than the stars overhead. You attempted to break a world under my protection. You failed. Do not repeat that failure. A tremor ran through the sovereign's wings. Alara stepped forward, lowering her voice. We cannot afford another war. Too many worlds have suffered from your empire's expansion. This is where the line is drawn. Your kind draws lines you cannot hold. The sovereign hissed. Aegis shifted slightly, the hull vibrating in response to the power gathering beneath his armor. She is not the only one drawing it. A chime resonated through the chamber as the verdict sphere materialized. It was reserved only for matters capable of destabilizing galactic equilibrium, world-ending weapons, extinction protocols, or threats no faction could handle alone. Today, it materialized for Earth. For Aegis. For a guardian whose existence rewrote the balance of power. The sphere released its first decree. Opposition to Earth shall be considered an act of war against the Celestial Assembly. Half the delegations erupted in relief. The others erupted in panic. What madness is this? Shouted a razor-skinned delegate. One human and one ancient weapon. Aegis's eyes narrowed faintly. I am not a weapon. I am a promise. Elara whispered, just loud enough for him to hear. Nice timing. His answer came through their link alone. You asked me to let you speak first. I also asked you not to destroy the chamber, she reminded him. I have not. She sighed. Yet. The Sovereign stepped forward, wings flaring with electric fury. This is a farce. We are expected to bow to a relic and a child? Elara's jaw clenched. I'm 19. Not a child. Several delegates hesitated at her tone. That confidence wasn't bravado. She truly believed she could stand against him. Aegis placed one hand on her shoulder. She is also the one who woke me. The Sovereign's fury faltered. Impossible. You fear what you do not understand, Aegis said. Start with understanding this. Earth is not alone. And it is not weak. He angled his head toward the assembly. The time of empires devouring worlds has ended. That declaration struck harder than any weapon. The assembly fell silent, hanging on the edge between peace and annihilation. Finally, the Arbiter, an ancient crystalline entity whose voice echoed like wind across metal, addressed the hall. We must decide whether Earth stands as an equal or stands as a threat. Elara stepped forward again, raw determination lighting her gaze. We stand as survivors. And we stand with every world your wars have destroyed. If you let us, we will help rebuild what you broke. Aegis nodded once, reinforcing her words. Humanity carries resilience unlike any species I have known. Their strength lies not in conquest, but in refusal to surrender. The Sovereign studied them both, something shifting behind his cold glare. Not respect, something more reluctant. Recognition. The galaxy fears you, he said quietly. Perhaps with reason. Aegis took no pride in that. Fear is not my purpose. But I will not allow harm to reach those under my protection. Elara spoke before the Sovereign could answer. Then don't test that protection. You saw what happened when you tried. The Sovereign's eyes narrowed, and then, slowly, he bowed his head. Not in submission. In acknowledgement. The assembly listened as he growled. Very well. Earth will be left untouched. For now. Elara exhaled slowly. Aegis's presence eased around her like a shield withdrawing. The Arbiter struck the floor with its crystalline staff. The decree stands. Earth rises. Let the galaxy adapt. When the session ended and delegates poured out in a frenzy of gossip and panic, Elara finally allowed her legs to shake. Aegis stepped beside her, lowering his voice. You performed well. She laughed softly. I thought I was going to pass out. You did not. That's really the best compliment I'm getting, huh? Aegis tilted his head thoughtfully. You were remarkable. She flushed. Better. They walked out of the hall together, two figures whose presence had reshaped the fate of countless worlds. A girl who refused to break. A guardian who refused to fall again. Behind them, the galaxy whispered of a new power rising on a blue world in a quiet arm of the Milky Way. Earth. And the ancient protector who stood beside it. The age of sleeping guardians was over. The age of humanity's ascent had begun.